Imagine a machine that could power your house, your car, and your phone forever, without ever needing fuel or a single charge. A wheel that spins on its own, generating endless free energy. Think about your daily life. Your phone battery drains. The car runs out of gas. Even your toys need new batteries eventually. Everything seems to run down. We are constantly looking for sources of power. We plug things into walls, fill them up at stations, and search for outlets. Energy is something we always seem to need more of. A perpetual motion machine would solve all of this. It would be the greatest invention in human history, changing our world in ways we can barely imagine. The promise is so powerful that it feels like it should be possible. The challenge seems like an engineering problem, something we could solve if we were just clever enough. So what exactly is a perpetual motion machine? The idea comes in a few different flavors, but the main goal is always the same: to get more energy out of a machine than you put into it. The simplest version is a machine that creates energy from absolutely nothing. It would start itself and run forever, providing power for other things along the way. History is filled with fascinating designs for these machines. One famous idea from the 12th century was a wheel with hinged hammers or rolling balls around its edge. The idea was that as the wheel turned, the weights on one side would always be farther from the center than the weights on the other, creating an imbalance that would keep the wheel turning forever. Another clever design involved a water pump that would lift water up, which would then fall and turn a water wheel, which in turn would power the pump. A perfect, self-sustaining loop. Yet, after studying them, even Da Vinci concluded they were impossible. Every single attempt, from ancient times to modern workshops, has ended in the same way: failure. The machine always, eventually, stops. To understand why, we need to go deeper and ask a more fundamental question. What even is energy? Energy isn't a magical substance. It's a property of the universe. It's the ability to do work or cause change. It's the motion in a moving car, the heat in a cup of coffee, and the light from the sun. And the universe has very strict rules about how energy behaves. These rules are known as the laws of thermodynamics. They are some of the most fundamental and unbreakable laws in all of science. The first law is perhaps the most famous. It's also known as the law of conservation of energy. It states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. You can't make energy out of thin air. The total amount of energy in a closed system, like our universe, is constant. It's always the same. Think of it like money. You can't just create money from nothing. You can move it from your wallet to a cash register or from your bank account to a store, but the money itself has to come from somewhere. When you burn wood, you aren't creating energy. You are releasing the chemical energy stored in the wood and converting it into heat and light. When you eat food, your body converts the chemical energy in the food into the energy you need to move, think, and live. No new energy is made. The universe's accounting system is perfect. Every bit of energy must be accounted for. You can never get more out than you put in. So those clever wheels with the falling hammers? The energy needed to lift the hammers back up to the top is always exactly the same as, or more than, the energy you get from them falling down. And the self-powering water pump? The energy needed to pump the water up is always greater than the energy the falling water can provide. Always. But this leads to a much trickier question. What if we don't try to create new energy? What if we build a machine that just recycles its own energy perfectly, running forever without producing any extra power? Imagine a spinning top and a perfect vacuum, with no air to slow it down. Couldn't that spin forever? This is where the second, and arguably more profound, law of thermodynamics comes in. The second law of thermodynamics is about the quality of energy. It introduces a concept called entropy. Entropy is a measure of disorder, randomness, or chaos in a system. And the second law says that in any real process, the total entropy of the universe always increases. In simple terms, things tend to get messier over time, not neater. A tidy bedroom doesn't spontaneously clean itself. It gets messy unless you add energy to clean it. This tendency towards disorder is a one-way street for energy. Energy likes to flow from a useful, concentrated state, like the heat in the coffee, to a less useful, spread-out state, like the slight warmth of the air in the room. So how does this stop our perfect recycling machine? The answer is in one tiny, unavoidable enemy: friction. Even in the most carefully engineered machine, parts rub against each other. A spinning axle rubs against its bearings. This friction generates a tiny amount of heat. That heat is energy, and just like the heat from the coffee, it radiates away from the machine and into the environment. Every single time that energy escapes as heat, it's a tiny bit of the machine's starting energy that is lost forever. It has become disordered, increasing the entropy of the universe. Even the sound a machine makes is energy escaping. The slight whir of a spinning wheel is the sound of its own motion bleeding away into the air. You can reduce friction with lubricants or magnetic bearings. You can put the machine in a vacuum to eliminate air resistance, but you can never eliminate it completely. Even atoms vibrating within the materials of the machine itself generate and lose heat. There is no such thing as a perfectly frictionless system. Every single movement, every turn of the wheel, has an energy tax. A tiny portion of useful, ordered energy is converted into useless, disordered heat and lost. It might be a very, very small tax on each rotation. The machine might run for a very long time. Days, years, even centuries. The second law guarantees that no process is 100% efficient. You can never break even. The universe always takes its cut. This is why a bouncing ball eventually stops bouncing. Each bounce converts a little bit of its motion into heat and sound. It's why a swinging pendulum eventually stops swinging. It loses a tiny bit of energy to air resistance and friction at its pivot point with every single swing. So the dream of a machine that runs forever is stopped by two simple yet unshakable cosmic rules. The first insight is the law of conservation of energy. The universe gives you a fixed energy budget. You can't create more. You can only move it around. This makes any machine that claims to generate energy from nothing an impossibility. The second, deeper insight comes from the law of increasing entropy. Not only can you not create energy, you can't even perfectly reuse it. Every time you use energy to do something useful, a portion of it inevitably degrades into useless, disordered heat. This is an inescapable cost of doing anything at all. So does this mean we should give up? Not at all. Understanding these laws doesn't limit us. It empowers us. It tells us where we should be looking for solutions. Instead of trying to break the laws of physics, the greatest engineering of our time focuses on working within them. We build machines that are incredibly efficient, minimizing that energy tax from friction and heat loss as much as possible. We learn to harvest the vast amounts of energy already around us, from the sun, the wind, and the atom. The goal isn't a magical machine that runs on nothing, but a smarter world that runs on everything, guided by the fundamental rules of the universe itself.